Good morning, everybody. It's Madeline. I am in my cherry nightgown because I'm in my nightgown area. I have my morning coffee. I was deciding what to do with my day. I have to work a little bit later, but I wanted to do something productive. So I went ahead and decided to do this video because I was in my kitchen this morning pacing and I started thinking about this cycle that I've been going through in my early 20s. And I started to think, I'm pretty sure other people go through this same cycle, so I kind of wanted to put it out there, maybe talk through it a little bit, help myself, maybe in turn help you, kind of work through some of the things that we're all silently working through on our own, and maybe if you can know that you're a little bit less alone out there in this crazy dying world, that's good news. So if you don't know me, I'm 23 years old. I'm a freelance model, actress, dancer. I work in a bar in Manhattan, New York. I just moved here after traveling the world in December. But I kind of have like a 5-step process or a 5-step cycle that I find myself in on a weekly basis, monthly basis, especially since I moved out here to New York, but also while I was traveling. And it was like, this has to be studied. This must be scientific. Then I saw TikTok the next day and a girl was talking about literally the exact same thing. So I was like, let me put this out there before somebody else steals my idea, because that be happening. Whenever I think of an idea and then I don't go put it out there, the universe is like, okay, somebody else is gonna put it out there. Like I thought of, like for strippers, I thought of this garter belt where you could Apple tap, like Apple Pay, instead of having cash. And I was like, that's an ingenious invention. I had no idea how to like patent it or anything like that. And then about 2 years later, I saw somebody come out with it. And it's just like, ah. So anyway, I'm jumping on the list. The 20 cycle. Starting at step number 1, or thing number 1. So in your 20s, it's the first time in your life, not for everybody, but for, I would say 70% of 20-something-year-olds, it's the first time in their life that they're having less structure and less authority in their life, almost none. And like the 20s is a really interesting age because you go from having like so much structure to basically having nothing and just being like a free-form blob. So when you grow up in your parents' house, you obviously have your parents, you know, who are an authoritative figure. They're kind of telling you what to do. They loosen the reins as you get older, but when you're young, they're like, go brush your teeth, you know, bedtime. No, you can't go to their house. You know what I mean? And for my friends out there who don't have great parents or didn't have authoritative parents, you had school, which was a structure or a structured system, an authoritative system where you went and you had a set routine. You knew that you went to school Monday through Friday. You knew that you had club after school. You knew that you went to a therapist on this day. LOL, exposing myself. You knew, you know, what kind of sports you did, what kind of friends you were going to see. You knew if you had after school care. There was maybe some sort of lunch schedule. You had homework. You had stuff that you were supposed to be working on. You saw the next steps. The next steps are the next grade. And then once you graduate high school, a lot of the times we go to college or a training program, a trade program, some sort of academic structure again, where it's a little bit looser, but you have classes, you have homework, you have a motivation, you have something that you need to be working towards. And then you graduate college and you move to a new city, a new scene, you stay where you are, whatever. But all of a sudden you don't have somebody telling you, okay, go to class now. Okay, do your homework now. Okay, it's lunchtime. There's no, even imaginary, there's no structure for you to follow. Now then we have my friends that are gonna go, you know, right into a corporate job and stay there for the rest of your life. I'm not necessarily talking about you guys. This is more catered to creative individuals such as myself, in having no structure. So this is the first time that you're having no structure in what you're supposed to be doing all the time. So you kind of really have authority and freedom over your time for the very first time. And it's so liberating. And at first it can be really fun. Like I literally traveled the world because I was like, I have nothing to do. I have nobody to report to. I have, But then after the first few months of that, it fades away and you're like, oh, I have nobody telling me what the right step is. I have nobody telling me what I should do tomorrow. If I want to stay in bed until 3 p.m., I can do that and nobody's going to tell me it's wrong. Oh, shit. That's where you figure out that you're this person that's supposed to tell you it's wrong now. That leads you to this realization of understanding that you have authority over your life now. And that can lead you in one of two directions. One direction is like, I don't care that I have authority over my own life. It's going to be fine. I'm going to just live. It's going to flow. If I'm working, I don't care where I'm working. I don't care what I'm doing. For those of us that can't turn our brain off like that and just have to overthink every little detail of existence and human life and death, you can't do that. And you're like, it's so overwhelming. You're like, oh my God, wait, actually, I don't know what to do, right? Because I'm responsible for my own success now. And the one thing I want to be, mommy issues, daddy issues, is successful. I really want to be successful. And I know I'm able to be successful. I know I have all the tools, but it's like now I'm in charge of making sure that I can do that, which leads you to the second step, which is confusion. This can put you in a big state of shock and confusion, as it has done to me. Because as I've said, I'm a dancer, model, actress. I'm kind of freelancing my way through New York City, right? And so because of that, I have even less structure. And so I'm confused on a daily basis. I'm like, okay, do I sleep till 3 p.m.? Do I wake up early and go to the gym? Should I be taking vitamins? Do I work on my book today? Do I paint today? Do I apply today for stuff? Do I go shopping? Do I try and meet some friends? Do I try and go out and have a good time? Do I clean my whole house? Do I apply for food stamps? Do I invest something? Do I, make an outfit? Do I call my grandma? Do I, go take 1 million dance classes? Do I go do 1 million self-tapes? Do I go buy a bad wig and put it on just so that I feel something in my life? Maybe. Like, there's so many options I have on a daily basis that I am confused because it's like, I don't know the proper steps to take. I feel like it's a game of chess, right? You have to take the correct steps in order to get to the king. But it's like, you have all the tools to get to the king in front of you. You have the bishop, you have the queen. It's very possible to checkmate the other player, but you have to take the right steps. And that's something that leads to confusion for me. That scares me on a daily basis. It's really hard for me to trust my intuition and, lead myself down this unknown path because I'm scared that I'm fucking up every single day. And the reality is, I believe that we have a destiny and we have something that we can't fuck up, but still, I feel like on days that I did this, I should have done this. And on days that I did this, I should have done this. And on days that I did this, I should have done this. And on days that I feel like I'm utilizing my time so well, the next day I find out there was a better way I could have utilized my time yesterday. And it's so frustrating, right? It's so frustrating. And this can lead to step number 3. The confusion can lead to step number 3, which is comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. We all know this, but I think for people our age, especially with social media nowadays, the biggest comparison is going to be our peers from high school and our peers from college. At least when it comes to me, I know it's so easy to be on social media and be like, this person from high school is doing this, or this person from college has this dance job. Do you know what I mean? But the reality is that this time in our life is so fluid that there's not really a right or wrong thing that you should be doing at this time. I have people that I know from high school who are still living at their parents' house. I have people like unemployed. I have people who I know from high school that are working a corporate job. I have people who I know that are, in Miami living their best hot girl life. I have people who I know with 3 children from high school. I have people who I know who are very successful. I have people who I know who are alcoholics. Everybody is at a different point in the journey, because this is the point in the journey where you are discovering yourself. This is the point in the journey where everything gets messy before it gets calm. It's like you start as a child and it builds. It's so easy to compare yourself to people and say that you're doing less than them. But how about looking at both sides of the comparison? So I went to college for dance. There's people that I graduated with, or that graduated a year before me or whatever, that are working on cruise ships, that are on the Hamilton tour, that are like, in dance companies, crazy stuff. And it's so easy to look at them and be like, well, what have I done? And feel less than, feel like I've taken the wrong steps, I've fallen short, I'm way behind. But then you can look at the other spectrum. I'm only focused on these people that are doing all this. There's plenty of people that also graduated with me that are, still in their hometown, or that are still trying to figure it out, or don't even have, the means to come out here to New York and live this dream. And how lucky am I? Everybody's life path is very different. And I always like to tell people that just because somebody is really up right now, you could look at somebody, obviously you never want to wish down on anybody, but you can look at somebody and be like, oh my God, they're so up, I want to be where they are, my life sucks, nothing is happening. And the whole time your life is working behind the scenes for you. And what you get later is something you could have never even imagined, and it's huge, and it's different than what they have, because that's not what was meant for you. Things passing you by are a blessing in disguise. Trust me, hindsight is 20/25. Just kidding, it's 2020. This confusion can lead us to number 4, which is a lack of motivation and self-doubt. I know, especially when you have autonomy over your own decisions, it can be very difficult, because when you get into a depressive state or into a state of like self-doubt, then you can kind of just lay there and be like, oh, I don't need to get up. Oh, I don't need to like clean. Oh, like I don't need to go to the gym. And it's really easy to kind of like get into this depressive state where you're like, well, nothing happens for me, so I'm not gonna try anyway. Well, this is just my life, so I'm gonna let it be my life, and just, fall into that everyday rut. Which leads us to step number 5, which is a choose your own adventure step. You can go one of 2 ways. The first way that you can go in step number 5 is you can be like, you know what, I'm never gonna be as good as these other people. I'm never gonna get what I want in life. I'm not good enough to have my dream, and so because I can't have my dream, I'm just gonna settle for, getting through life. And a lot more people than you realize do that. A lot more people give up, and they just become compliant, sentient with the ways of life, get married to somebody they don't really care about, have kids, do what they think they're supposed to do, work a corporate job, hate their lives, and then die. That's your first choose your own adventure. Sorry for the brutal honesty, but the second choose your own adventure is to get back on the saddle, is to crawl out of this depression and realize, wait, I control what happens to me. I can try something different. I can spark myself back up to life. I can go do something else. I can go try harder. I can go run faster. I can go, you know? And even when you have that new burst of energy, it's like the big burst of energy after the cry, like the big clarity after the big cry. Even when you have that, I guarantee you that throughout your 20s, until you kind of have everything figured out, which a lot of people never have anything figured out, so maybe for the rest of your life, you're gonna kind of go through this cycle. At least I think I am going to. I don't want to speak for you, but this cycle of realizing that you're the only authority over your life now, getting confused on your life, comparing your life to everybody else, getting down and having self-doubt and lack of motivation, and then that spark that gets you back on the saddle, that gets you back up into a state of flow until you start doubting again, until you realize that you're the creator of your own life. I was actually really kind of depressed this morning and I wasn't gonna make this video, but it has been. I saw some rock, like some crystals, some rocks, sitting on my windowsill. And I was just a little bit taken aback because I was like, I used to manifest every morning. I used to meditate and calm my energy, and I used to be into herbs, and I used to be into like breathing exercises and practices and setting healthy habits and teas and going to the gym. And I kind of realized that, well, I realized this last night too, like since I've kind of been in New York, I have let myself slip maybe into some of those bad habits again, like smoking a lot of weed or, you know, whatnot. So this video is to motivate myself. I hope it also motivates you. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. It's getting warm outside, so go enjoy the sun. And subscribe if you want, because we can have some fun chats. Okay, shut up, Maddie.